Hello, and thank you for watching another edition of ARFCOM News. I'd like to formally welcome Pat to the channel, whose debut video dropped last Monday. You can check out all his earlier stuff at the link to his own channel in that thing down there that nobody reads right underneath this video. With his help, we'll be able to bring you lots more gun reviews and related shenanigans. In North Carolina, if you want to buy a rifle or shotgun, you must be at least 18 years old, pay the money, and pass an instant background check, like most of the country. But if you want to buy a handgun, you'll need to get a permission slip from the government first. And last month, the sheriff of Wake County, Gerald Baker, stopped issuing pistol permits until public pressure caused him to resume. It should go without saying that the government has no business selling basic human rights back to the people they stole those rights from in the first place. But to then stop issuing the permits entirely and thus deny a right altogether is unconscionable. So that's why the North Carolina Rifle and Pistol Association is filing a suit to remove the requirement to have a pistol permit. Kind of. To be perfectly blunt, this statement from the NCRPA president, Fred Edgecombe, has me more than a little worried. He says, "A pistol purchase permit is good for 5 years from the date of issue, and therein lies the problem. During that 5-year period, an individual can commit a felony, abuse drugs, or ignore a restraining order, yet not be required to undergo a background check." He's right, of course, but does this mean he supports universal background checks? Does this mean that he is opposed to using concealed carry permits in lieu of the NICS system? In my home state of Arizona, we have constitutional carry, which is rad. Anyone who is legally allowed to possess a handgun can carry it, or any other weapon for that matter, concealed, without a permit. But we still issue concealed carry permits for reciprocity with other states, and those permits count as the background check for a 4473 when you go to purchase a gun, which is really handy for me because I seem to get delayed more often than not. But if I'm hearing this guy right, it sounds like he's against that. I don't know, maybe I've got him all wrong, and he's just pointing out that pistol permits are as useless as they are unconstitutional. What do you guys think? This next one is a real banger of a story. According to a whistleblower in the Maine State Police, they sound as if they've been using Orwell and Philip K. Dick as instruction manuals to turn the dark dystopian cyberpunk future into the dark dystopian cyberpunk right freaking now. So the headline is that the whistleblower says they were running an illegal gun registry. I know, I am Jack's complete lack of surprise, but it sounds like these guys were pretty committed to the Stasi routine because it goes way beyond the illegal gun registry. Maybe it's the uniforms. Along with the illegal gun registry, the whistleblower claims the Maine State Police were keeping records on people who protested about a power line corridor, people who worked at a camp for Arab and Israeli teens, and only everybody who ever drove past one of their license plate scanners. To be fair, they're allowed to store that data for 21 days, but hold up a second. Why should the good people of Maine allow the state to spy like them at all in the first place? Anyway, the police are allowed to keep records for 21 days, but apparently they were using that time to identify everyone who went to New York or Massachusetts more than the agency believed was proper, and it was only those people that they kept the data for past the 21 days. But they were probably transporting drugs, so no big deal, right? Of course, the whistleblower says that he was demoted after bringing the information to the attention of his supervisors. Really chilling stuff if these claims happen to be true. If you like seeing stuff more than not seeing stuff, take a look at our sponsor, TNVC.com, your source for quality night vision gear to make you the bump in the night. On the other side of the planet, Middle Earth is setting new records for
murder, death, kill.
Right after New Zealand banned all the scary pews, they are now seeing the highest rates of crimes involving firearms in almost a decade. Now, I'm not saying that the ban and forced confiscation caused a lot of people to decide to sell their guns at a discount to anyone who is interested. Wait, no, that's exactly what I'm saying. See, statists think that when you pass a law, people just obey the law. What they don't realize is there were essentially 3 choices for everyone who had a banned gun. Yes, they could turn in their guns and accept the pittance they were offered. Or they could hide their guns. But if you're not a true believing Boogatron, maybe you don't want the liability of having a now illegal gun hanging around. At the same time, you'd be kind of foolish to let the state have valuable property while you lose money on the deal. Of course, if you're really smart, you hide the guns for a year or two and then sell them. You'll likely get a lot better price that way. Of course, the control freaks will probably assure us that the spike in murder is just the price we have to pay for safety from, You want to see a textbook definition of ineffectual bleeding? Take a gander at these politicians trying to ban ghost guns. It's no surprise that the sort of people who want to control every minute aspect of your life would use any excuse to push their control agenda. But yes, they're using the Wu flu as an excuse to try to ban homemade guns again. Sure, it has always been legal to manufacture guns at home in the US. And I get that they want to be able to put people in a cage for doing it, but they're missing the point and just making themselves look like impotent geriatrics who can't grok the scary modern world that's grown up around them. Go ahead and ban homemade guns. I can still make a shotgun with 20 bucks and a trip to Home Depot. Or a scrapyard for that matter. It's not hard to find plans to build homemade submachine guns either. A fun fact, it's actually easier to make a full auto submachine gun than to make an equivalent semi-auto carbine. So if and you're gonna break the law anyway. And as we covered a few weeks back, the FGC-9 is a thing that exists, and once plans for 3D printed products hit the interwebs, you can't stop the signal. So yeah, it's immoral to want to put people in a cage when they haven't hurt anyone, but it's also just stupid and pointless. There's an old saying that you should never give an order that you know won't be obeyed, and I think that applies easily to legislation too. When you pass a law that is easily circumvented, you make people think about why they bother following other laws too. There isn't any way to stop people from making black pipe shotguns or milling receivers from billet on their desktop CNC machines. That's not just my opinion, it's cold, hard fact. What are you going to do? Ban pipe? Now, I'm under no illusion that we can convince these control freaks to stop trying to control people, but maybe we can talk them into overextending themselves. So I am not going to ask you to write your Congress critters and ask them to stop this bill. Again. It didn't get out of committee last year either. I am going to ask you to call Senator Dick Blumenthal at 202-224-2823 right now and tell him that his plan doesn't go far enough. Explain to him that you are concerned that people can still easily build guns at home and that you want him to amend the bill to include a background check for pipe and billet steel and aluminum and to require registration of every 3D printer and CNC machine with the BATFE. I'm also quite concerned about the fact that there is absolutely no federal regulation of energy weapons whatsoever. Tell Dick that we should have common sense energy weapon control. A good start would be to set a limit of 40 watts for all phased plasma rifles and laser muskets. And what about the bolt casters? There isn't a single law in any American jurisdiction to stop someone, even kids, from buying a bolt caster without a background check. Be sure to keep your composure and make your comments concise and polite. The key to any good scam is not to oversell it. I know it's a long shot, but how great would it be if we could talk them into banning fictional guns or try to get them to get every CNC machine in the country registered with the ATF? It's all clown shoes anyway, so we may as well hang a big bright lantern on it for all to see. Well, my band of space monkeys, it's almost time to go, but before I do, remember the first rule of Project Mayhem. Now fly, my pretties, fly! I hope you enjoy these things as much as I do. If you think I earned it, please turn on the knobs and pull the levers to engage with this video as much as you are able so our robot overlords know that you like watching precision sports related stuff. In case you didn't get the memo, that's YouTube's newspeak for weapon related content now. If you didn't like it, well, why did you watch all the way to the end? Whether you got to the end because you like watching or just because you're stubborn and cantankerous, please consider supporting us by supporting our sponsor TNVC, your source for the tools you need to make you the bump in the night. And if you want to rock some fly threads that are guaranteed to trigger some steppy boys, check out our Teespring store, which is linked right below this here video. Thanks for watching. I love you.